Hi everyone, the following video is a recording from our 16th Artist Feedback AMA session that featured multiple different NFT photography genres. The session was held in the MetaJungle Discord on July 7th and hosted by talented photographer and active MetaJungle member Mike Schmidt. In this session, Mike was actually joined by special guest Sunny Sangwan, and we want to thank Mike and Sunny for their time for reviewing and giving input on 12 different NFT collections. We also want to thank all the artists who submitted their work for review and everybody that was able to attend. We hope you find the information given over curating and creating NFT collections, as well as tips and tricks on promoting and selling your NFT collections, helpful. With that, let's go on ahead and check it out.
We have a special guest there today, Sunny Sangwan. He's been a really supportive collector in the community, but more than that, he's really good when it comes to the storytelling aspect of a collection and the curation of it. He's been a mentor to me, and he's also been really helpful on like the marketing and business side, and when to implement that and when to focus on the art and all these type of aspects. So we thought that having him here today would be helpful as I go through some of the collections, and he can add some valuable info from time to time. So thanks for being here, Sonny. We can probably get started here. I'm going to share my screen, um, but the links to all the artists are in the AMA announcements section if you want to pull them up on your own screens to take a look at. But I'm going to start sharing now. I should be able to see my screen.
Yeah, we can see it.
All right, cool. Cool. So first artist that we're going to be talking about today is Marat uh, Harmon Leakley. I think that's how you say it. And this is the map of your face. And I found the artist statement to be pretty interesting here. So this is in quotation. This is the only true voyage would be not to travel through 100 different lands with the same pair of eyes, but to see the same land through 100 different pairs of eyes. Faces are like maps. Discovering the unique features of a face is also like a voyage. Diving into the depths of an eye, or walking in between wrinkles of the passing years, or losing yourself in the curve of a smiling lip. If you know how to read this map, that is drawn by secrets, sorrows, happiness, fears, and love, it will tell you many stories. The collection of Map of Your Face consists of 9 portraits of my niece taken in 2020 and 2021, which were strange years for all of us. So it's taken during, I guess, a pre and post pandemic time. And so the portraits show her melancholic mood under quarantine conditions. This collection is also a humble attempt for me to voyage within her map with 100 different eyes. Like I was referring to like the face as a map. It's interesting because we all have a unique, one of one, face, right? Like unless we're like an identical twin. And even identical twins have sort of like their own map as well because they develop their own wrinkles and aging over time, and some of them have a birthmark or something in certain areas. So to continue, 7 of the photos from this collection won first place as a series in the portrait category in the International Photo Awards (IPA), and I know that's a pretty big one too. In 2021, so just last year. Congratulations on that to the artist, um, with the name of Portraits of a Young Lady. So I guess this was called Portraits of a Young Lady at the time and changed the name to The Map of Your Face. So both really interesting. So this one's on Sloika. It's really cool. I love looking at collections on Sloika. Get to see really high resolution, beautiful detail, and it's very easy to move through the images, and it's got good information here like the series is of 9, and there's 5 available. So 4 were actually collected already. and it looks like it's the first four that were collected. And so we'll just go through some of the images here. Maybe we'll do, let's see, yeah, we should do it. This is cool too. You can do the dark mode. So really interesting choice, reflections and stuff that this has here, and the subject seems to really be engaged with the photographer. It feels like they have like a really comfortable relationship. Another reflection shot looks like the artist is actually also in this picture, so it's a really interesting composition and choice, very daring. I personally probably wouldn't have put two reflection images right next to each other as one and two. I would have probably spaced those out from a curation standpoint. Really interesting shot here. I love the single eye and the bottom frame here, and then this intense look here. Another really beautiful shot. I love how he's making like these frames within a frame, and how these this light drops feels like tears, and her eye like looking into her soul sort of feels like they would be tears. Really interesting way this photographer is photographing. So this shot I noticed was it's not collected, and I like that this is an environmental shot too. And I think it worked out really successful with these snowdrops coming down. It's a really beautifully surreal image, and has that melancholy aspect to it. I love how she's just gazing up at it, and all the snow that you can see textured on the umbrella here. Surprised that piece wasn't picked up. Another one really interesting, the hand. Lots of reflective stuff, but this artist seems to be like very well versed in shooting reflections, but actually keeping like the subject in focus. It's very difficult with reflections. You have to really know what you're doing. Powerful one. So this is what I like about Sloika too, is just the ability to just move through the images, and just see the story rather than on OpenSea where you have to keep clicking on individual images to open them up. Beautiful one. Great shot here too. Love the light. Perfect light just hitting this right here. Great focus. So yeah, I mean overall I uh I really loved the collection, especially that the artist was able to take one single model and create like beautifully poetic images all the way through. I think it's really hard to do with a single model. So yeah, I thought this was a successful collection, and so I wanted to start off with it since some of them are already collected, and I thought the artist did a really good job on the editing side of it, the emotional impact, and also I thought the artist statement was really well written. Do you have anything to add on that, Sonny, from that collection?
Man, I was waiting for you to ask me. I maybe I may be biased on this one because I am a very big fan of Murat's work, and we connected a while ago on this collection, and actually I have this the Tears of Light one of one from this collection, the one at the bottom. Yeah, this one,
Wow, I didn't even
and
notice. Well,
it
yeah, I
was
wouldn't know from this.
yeah. No,
Doesn't
but
say Sonny.
this was one of my most favorite photos from this collection, and I saw it and I was like, "This is incredible."
It is. Yeah,
Yeah, and I
just like
think
the
what you said about the model, and I think you can see the connection that Murat and his niece share, and you can really like this is such a powerful face. And I instantly recognized this face when Murat released one of his editions, and she is in that edition too. It is a shot of a car going in a tunnel, and her face kind of in the rear view mirror. I thought that that image was just stunning, and I could instantly recognize her. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, so yeah, really a really well done series. I didn't even know that you collected one from this. You actually collected I think a couple of pieces from some of the series that we were looking at today that I did see. Um, but yeah, I think this is just a good example of how to put together a cohesive body of work, a good artist statement, descriptions. It sort of has it all. So yeah, I don't that much. I don't really have actually. I don't have any constructive feedback to really to give on this series, except for I would have probably just some of the reflection shots I probably would have separated. But other than that, yeah, really really strong work. So
I really like
really,
how poetic the artist or the collection description is, and how it kind of ties all of these images together. I mean, it kind of sets the mood as you start to look at the photos, and I think it's one of the better done you know kind of storytelling that I've seen.
yeah, it's great because it's like it's not telling me how to think about the photographs. It's just sort of talking about this idea of like the map of a face. And so like it's an intriguing idea into this. Like he talks about the voyage and diving into the depths of an eye, walking in between wrinkles of passing years, losing yourself in the curve of a smiling lip. Like that doesn't take away from the project for me. That actually lends and adds to it. And I talk about finding like this happy medium with your artist statements or even descriptions and artist statements where like you're not giving the whole story of like what it's about, but you're giving like some intrigue so that you leave open some to our imagination. Because I know a lot of artists will say to me like, well, I don't want to write an artist statement or I don't want to write descriptions. That's why I take photographs. It's like, well, you can tell us a little bit about why you like to take photographs or give us some information. Find a way to give us some information without giving it away because I can talk about how, artists, an artist statement, writing in general is adding another layer, another dimension to your actual artwork. So if you could take photographs, then you could also practice on your writing or poetry or storytelling, or get someone to help you. Even if you're just good at conveying how you feel, but not necessarily good at writing. I'm sure you can convey some of that stuff through like bullet points, and then have someone who's really good at writing help you write that artist. So, but yeah, really, really well done. Really like this collection.
Yeah, if I may add just to that, I think more very often I get the feeling that when I land on a collection, it's as if somebody dropped me in the middle of a city, and there's so many different directions that I can go, and kind of sometimes you feel directionless, especially when the idea behind the collection is a little complex. So, like Mike, you said, I don't want you to put ideas in my head or tell me exactly where to go in that city, but a general direction of where to go is helpful. And I think this collection does exactly that. It doesn't tell you how to interpret anything. It just gives you a general direction for your mind to wander. And those are the collections that I tend to connect with the most.
Yeah, so this is called a map of your face. So maybe the artist statement is sort of a map for your mind in a sense, like how to navigate it a little bit, but not tell you exactly how to feel or how. It's really interesting. But yeah, I'm in love with the collection. I think it's a great one. Yeah, love what you added there. So yeah, with that, I think we can move on to the next collection. We have like 12 today, so um, well, this one's actually an addition. This is submitted by M Barak, and he actually submitted for his Melted Fire 2. But I just pulled up his edition album so that we could see overall that he's minting multiple editions. And so let's first pull up the one that he wants feedback on. So Melted Fire 2, Got description here. Molted Fire is a long-term project. From this project, I've worked for nearly 4 years. I offer my most rare work as addition. Here, metal that is out of use as scrap is dissolved at 1400 degrees and reused. This is a very dangerous business and has very risky working environment. As I run out of the series, I'll continue to share. A little confused on what that last part means. As I run out of the series, I'll maybe as it sells out more, he'll share more information. I'm not sure how that helps. But if we take a look, let's see. We have it was minted 18 days ago. It has people are buying it. Leslie Spurlock, I see on here. A few others. So some sales. 15 editions total at 0.025. Looking at the properties, you have the edition here. Instead of doing it like this, I'd probably put the title as like editions, and then underneath I'd probably write like limited to 15. It's probably a easier read. Licensing, you could also put your licensing. So you don't have your licensing here, so that's something that the collectors are interested in seeing, whether or not you have a commercial editorial licensing and stuff. That's also really good to put in the properties. You got your artist name, that's good. Other than that, properties look pretty good. And but something I noticed. Let's take a look at the image actually first. Really beautiful image, right? It's a lot happening here, a lot of storytelling. There's they're obviously doing a really tough job underground, at like a lot of beautiful atmosphere with the smoke and stuff. Personally, for me, I'd like to see like a little more shadows in this shot. Feels like you pull up your shadows quite a lot. So then it starts to feel a little bit over processed for my personal taste. I'd rather have some shadows in this. It might just be me. You have anything on this before we jump into actually his other edition album and what he's done so far, Sonny? If not, I'll just jump in here. All right, so looks like he minted this. Let's look again real quick. This was minted, Melted Fire 2. I think this is minted 18 days ago. Okay. And then we have Foundry Log here. That was, oops, something went wrong. Heading back. Let's see. Just trying to get an idea here of how many editions he's minting, which ones have sold out. So Foundry Log 1, looks like this has 7 owners, a total of 10 editions, and the artist still has 3 items. So he went on to, let's see, when he minted this. So this is minted much longer ago. This is 2 months ago. Looks like no sales actually occurred, and they're all actually transfers. So these were all transferred. Sunny, you got one as well. Alpha, I got one. So these were transferred, and there's still actually 3 left. So I personally, I wouldn't have moved on to making another edition until those other 3 had sold out, because you're kind of saturating your own market here. Because if you look at this one here, lines of the years, this one was minted, I think, most recently. This is just 3 days ago. So your main mistake here, in my honest opinion, is that you're just dropping additions in. But you have 15 of this one that you still have to sell, and you only let's see, you only got rid of one of them here. Is it a sale or a transfer? It's a sale. So Leslie Spurlock picked up that one. She's super supportive. She's picking up so much stuff from people. And then this one is my favorite. Okay, so this is Towards the Sun. You priced a little higher than the others at 0.04, and this was minted 2 days ago. So I'm a little concerned about how you're minting so many editions at one time and not allowing your other editions to sell out. And also, you had kind of a cohesive thing going on here with the these melted firework workers. I can't think of the name right now. Um, these welders, I think. And then you go off into this black and white shot, and then towards the sun. So you just have a lot of stuff happening here at once, and I think that could hurt you in the long run um, as an artist, because the collectors are going to see that you've just kind of moved on from these, and how are you going to build a secondary market when you aren't selling out these and you kind of just jumping impatiently on to the next item. Do you agree with that, Sonny?
100%. I think everything that you said makes total sense. Um, that's exactly what my observations are. To be honest with you, I don't really have anything more to add.
Yeah, so that would be it for me. I mean, look, there's some beautiful work here, right? But you got 4 items in here, um, many additions, but you only have a total sales volume of 0.13. And so, you didn't have to wait that much longer here for this one, right? So you gave these, it seems like, to people that have inspired you, right? You transferred them, but you stopped at only sending them to 6 people. If you wanted this to be like a commemorative piece or something, like for those people who have supported you or inspired you, you should have you know released all of them, right? Because now it's just sitting in a series that's not sold out. Or maybe you should have advertised this, or not advertised it, but told the story about it on your Twitter, about this photo, and try to sell some, at least at a certain price, right? Because there's no price on this, I don't think. Well, there is, right? So you are selling some of them. I'm wondering, how much you're. Let's take a look. If you got your Twitter on here, let's take a look of what your how you're going about this. Right. Okay, so at least your most recent pin post is your additions. You have 3 of them on here. Um, you're missing that one though, that we're just looking at, the one that you did transfers on, that you do have for sale. So that's not up here. I think you're just giving, while these are some stunning shots, I think that you're just giving the community too much at once. It's better to sell out one, and then be able to make a sold out post, right? Make a post that says you're sold out, build some anticipation to drop, the next one. Like, drop something like this after you sold out, and I could see something like this really selling out. This is a really beautiful storytelling image. I actually just noticed there's a reflection off to the left side here too. Looks like he's carrying. I don't know, at first I thought it looked like he was carrying like some newspapers or something. It might be a towel. It looks like a scroll. Looks like a scroll. Like he's running with a scroll out into the light. It's a huge story, beautiful story here. It's just a shame that you just dropped it in after kind of saturating yourself with so much. So yeah, that would be my only feedback really on this is what you're doing here. Well, let's take a look at descriptions. Yeah, and then you're inconsistent on the properties here, right? For this one, you put edition 15 copy, and on the other one, you just put like a negative sign, and you just put 15/15. Try to be consistent across the board. I think that, like I said, I think the best way to do it is put like edition limited to 15. 15 copy. Just the word copy doesn't really sound that good. Um, People don't really want to own a copy, right? They want one of 15 in the world. So it's not really a copy, it's just the same image, just with less additions. Good, good descriptions, artist name. Yeah, you're just releasing too much work at once. That's it. So, cool. With that, let's move on. So, Children's Faces of Anatolia. And this is by Rahi uh, Mesubdu. Mesubdu, that's how you say it. And so we'll read over the artist statement real quick. Anatolia has a great importance in the history of the world. It has been home to different civilizations and cultures. We can see colorful children of different races in Anatolia. Children can never hide their mood. Looking into their eyes, we can see all their emotions. The collection consists of 8 photos. So, pretty decently written artist statement. I think it's actually pretty well written. It's just a small artist statement. I agree, though, children, for the most part, are usually showing their natural emotion, right? They haven't really reached the stage in their life where they start to become more self-conscious and self-aware of their own look. So there's some beautiful ones in here. So they're priced at 0.08. That's um, really low pricing for editions. And it doesn't look like the artist lowered it because of the current market. Looks like even 2 months ago they had it listed for 0.08, even when maybe we were closer to a one of one market. So it doesn't look like they changed it because of additions. So really nice pricing for a one of one. So a tourist boy traveling with his family in December, city of civilizations, Istanbul, which is a bridge between Asia and Europe. She poses for me in front of a historic door with all of her sincerity. Get your licensing information, edition one of one, photographer name. Um, yeah, you could put the license down here in properties too. That could help. But otherwise, looks really good. And I was really drawn to this photograph. I love the close focus, the expression, the colors, green with the green on navy blue. You got these lines that lead directly into the subject. Um, yeah, perfect composition. Done really well here. And then looking through some of the other ones, there's some standout ones here to me. Like I would say Village Cheese, standout one for me. I'd be careful when titling, right? Like titles usually you should have a capital letter for Village and Cheese. So the thing about titling, anything more than 4 letters should have a capital if you want it to look clean. Now, if you're an artist and you're just trying to do something different, um, and you have intention as to why you're not doing that, then it should be probably stated somewhere, or it should feel like there's intention to it. But other than that, you haven't sold this, you can correct that. So in Anatolia, cheese is made with traditional methods in villages. While the mother cuts the cheese, the granddaughter presents it to us with her warm smile. So yeah, really beautiful image here. I love how you composed it with her in the front. She does look very joyful. Um, and mother's in the back and she's doing the labor. See the fire here. You have a nice environment, very good environmental portrait. Let's
Mike,
take a
can
look
I
at
add something on the last one?
Yeah, please. Yeah, anytime you want to jump in, of course. I don't want to be the only one talking. If you want to talk, absolutely. So let's jump into that one.
So, you talked about the title, and I feel like, titles are one of the most underrated yet most powerful and impactful um, ways for you to make an impact from your artwork, to be honest with you. And I don't think, I do get a feeling that there's not, too much thought sometimes around titles. Like, for example, on this one, Village Cheese. It seems like, that's really very trying to just or describe what is in the photo. And
Too
sometimes I feel
straightforward.
like it's very straightforward, and it is really basically as if someone's looking at the photo and just writing what they see. However, I feel like for impact, you could spend a little bit more time on your titles and try to come up with something that's a little bit more, I guess, intriguing, funny, however you want to do it, but add some layers with it. Like, for example, here, instead of village cheese, it could be say cheese. It seems
Hmm.
like as if the girl's smiling for the camera, right? So
Yeah, like a double meaning. Yeah, like a double
yeah.
meaning. That's
So something like that, it adds a little bit more character to the entire experience, and to me at least.
I agree. I'm glad you brought that up too, because I was actually the first thing I wanted to talk about was that village cheese might be a little too direct, but I got sidetracked by the V being not capitalized. But I agree. I think that you know I like to sometimes when I'm looking at my image just think of it as like a movie title and how I would title it if it was a movie. And if this was a movie, it probably wouldn't be, Village Cheese, right? Like you say, it looks like, the artist is just looking at the images and trying to find out what they see, but thinking more along the lines of like poetry in a sense, or like how you can make a more intriguing title. Like you said, they're very uh, not not undervalued, but underlooked. They're overlooked. I'm sorry, the titles are very overlooked in the regard that they're adding another artistic dimension to the actual image. Like sometimes I'll like a title so much that it'll intrigue me enough to even make the purchase because the title meant so much to me or the description. So it's a really good point. So faces so like Faces of War is actually a better title, right? Like this is a better title for me because it's not just describing like what you see in the image, but it's like it goes deeper beyond that about what these faces might be about, right? So this is a beautiful shot. I love how the girl's, staring right into me. It feels like she's looking right into my soul, and this little girl is like kind of off in her own world looking up. This something a little technical as far as the color temperature is a little strange in this shot. And you could tell in her eye, in the whites of her eyes here that we have a lot of blues happening here. So if you could correct the color temperature so that we can see whites as whites, and these pearls is more white and the eyes is more white, then it can feel even more true to life. Very good depth of field, good image. Let's see. So once again, like Sonny said, a corn and child just it doesn't really it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel very storytelling, or it doesn't really want to open my imagination to anything. It's just sort of like telling me something that I can already see very very easily in this image. So working on the titles, but once again, like I like how you've composed this shot. I love the joy and expression on the girl. I love the color relationship between purple and yellow, and I love that the mother or caretaker or whoever is just in the background here, and they're both wearing stripes. An interesting shot, interesting composition. So well done on that there. We're going to go through every image, but so we read the artist statement here. So no owners, right? Very low entry point to one of one. Well, let's see if I sort this by oldest, when this collection was minted. So this is the first one that was minted. And so 2 months ago, started at 0.8, stayed at 0.8. So then I wonder, what the artist is doing um, to get these in the eyes of of collectors or just the community in general, their storytelling. Let's take a look at Twitter. So looks like the artist has moved on to talking about their edition piece that's out. So that's a post on their edition. This is a beautiful shot here. So he's showcasing a friend. But another one of his edition. So there's nothing I could find here on your Twitter like about this collection of one. So it's almost like almost feels a bit abandoned. You have your Instagram linked here, right? And then this is OpenSea. Let's see what you have linked here on OpenSea. So this is just your general OpenSea collection. So yeah, so not much, not having beautiful photos is one thing, but if no one knows that they're there, it's very hard to get them, get them collected. So we'll definitely work more on that. I understand that we sort of fell out of a one market a bit because additions came in, but I am seeing a lot lately, a lot of purchases of one of ones again, and you're in that almost like edition price range. So I would continue to talk about this collection. I don't know if you had anything to add on that, Sonny.
No, I think to me, it's the cohesion of the entire collection. I mean, I like the photos. I think the storytelling probably could set the mood right before you kind of dive into the photos.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like that is something that could be a little bit better. Oftentimes, what I see is there's very descriptive descriptions, and when I say descriptive, I mean, like, for example, it's almost like as if you're reading the Wikipedia sometimes, and I'm talking about the collection description. And I feel like collection description is where you can start to set the mood. And I think Ibrahim kind of, has done that, giving a little bit of a glimpse into what Anatolia, what kind of place it is. So yeah, I mean, looks pretty good to me.
Yeah, it looks good to me too. So I think it's just at this point, I think it's just working on these titles,
Yeah.
coming up with something a bit more poetic, and then also grabbing one of your favorite photographs and talking about it. You have Twitter, you have followers, like, talk about that piece, say, hey, look, I have a one of one collection available. This is a piece from the collection. It's priced at this. So I mean, that's appealing in itself, that it's 0.08 and you get, the only one that's minted in the world. Pick one of your favorites and talk about, why that piece was important to you. And that's a good way to, bring some attention to it and build some relationship around the project. Um, and yeah, I think you work with a bit of a cleaner banner here. If I'm gonna be like really nitpicky, like maybe just 4 images instead of 8 that could cut off. And that's really it. So yeah, cool. Um, Next collection is Wild Supreme, and this is by Bree Jesh. And so let's see, let's read this. So this one is a little tough for me to read. Some words here are a little tough, so bear with me. So, all right, hello, humans of the world. I'm Panthera Leo persica, scientific name, or simply uh, uh, Asiatic lions. Asiatic lions, I guess. Asiatic lions. Today, I'm here to tell my story to the world. It's an important one, as we all share the same planet. Presently, my only natural habitat or home is the dry, deciduous forests of Sasan Ger in the Gujarat state of India. Centuries ago, along with our African brothers, we ruled a great part of the land, but some greedy rulers and kings killed our ancestors many years ago for their vested interests. Our numbers fell drastically in the 19th century. Thankfully, we were saved. Over the past few decades, our importance was realized and various efforts were made to protect our existence. Our population is gradually rising now, and we are now about 700 in the entire world, only to be found in the Gir forest of India. That's all for now. P.S. The inspiration behind this collection comes from my love of these lions of deer. A part of the proceeds from this collection will go towards their conservation. So I enjoy the artist statement. It gives me a little history about like um, these specific types of lions and where they're from, and that they were endangered, and now that we're on an incline, so maybe they'll be less endangered, or they're obviously becoming less endangered with this incline and our realization of their importance. The last part, P.S. inspiration behind. So I always notice sometimes people say they'll say part of the proceeds from this collection will go towards their conservation. And so it's like, well, how much? Like, how do I know? Is it half? Is it 10%, 5%? So the last piece I put out, I put how much was going to go towards. For me, it was 50%. Doesn't have to be that, obviously, but I would probably give the collectors an idea of what's actually going towards their conservation. So floor price 0.1. Looks like 0.1 all across the board except for one image that you value a bit higher. There hasn't been any activity. So let's take a look. I'm going to actually open up some of the images that stood out to me. And so Deadly Stare is my favorite in the collection here, 0.1. So it's not the most expensive one. It's definitely the one that stood out most to me. And I think it's because this strong relationship that this lion has with you in this photo, like this connection, and you could feel the lion's character in this. And there isn't any distractions in this image, right? It's very the depth of field is really good. It's really all about this lion, and I love the ripples of water, the sunlight, the lighting is great. It's just a really really well done shot. Uh, so I take a shot like that, and then I compare it with something like, let's say, King and His Kingdom, which I think is a good shot because we have a really really beautiful lion here. Look at this lion's mane is what they call it, and just this stare into this here. But you have the tree that's kind of coming right out of the head here. Um, but nonetheless, some beautiful colors up here and such. Just it's a little bit of a distraction. I think you got to really be closer on these images. Like you have to open up close to really appreciate them. I do like that shot though. Another really strong one for me. Motherhood I thought was a strong one with not many distractions either, and really really focused in on the strong back muscles of this mother, and she's looking out almost as if like she's gazing out into what could be a threat to her child here, who looks innocent and has this beautiful gaze into the camera here. Um, well, there's a couple images where I felt there was distraction. I think I actually picked the wrong one where this one felt like there was a bit more distraction in it for me. And so I know, sometimes I definitely like to um, shoot through like a frame, right? Because it shows dimension. Like we live in a three-dimensional world, and if we could show multiple dimensions in an image, then it can add a lot, right? But in this particular image, I think what's going on here is really, really interesting. And my eye kind of keeps wanting to go to this left side piece here that's kind of distracting, and this piece here as well. So I think this composition is hurt by that. Another beautiful shot here. Innocence. This is the one that the artist priced a bit higher. I'm sure it's a more difficult shot to get, right? To have all three of them just, perfectly aligned like this, and these beautifully innocent gazes. Like they have these look, you can tell they're brothers or sisters or something. They look so related. It's so interesting how you guys shoot wildlife and you can bring personality that and soul that I didn't really see as much when I was just a kid watching, Discovery Channel. I look at them more as just animals in the wild, whereas I look at some of your guys' photos as like um, of these animals having a lot of soul. So let's read the description on one of the images. Let's go deadly stare. Right, I like that one. If looks could kill. Silence is the most powerful scream. Don't take my silence as my weakness. Lion stare can be deadly and scary, but it reflects how strong, confident, and fearless this species are. Claws are merely a tool, but the real weapon is in the eyes and the mind of this ferocious beast. Uh, he will keep peace with the enemy until someone breaks into his zone of safety. Game over. I love that description. You're really, really a good writer. If you wrote this, this is real. In my opinion, this is really good writing. I do love that. And his collection, photographer name, location, edition, size, license. Then we head down the properties. Um, and unfortunately, we're missing like some important parts of properties, right? That you have in the description. I think one of the most important parts of the properties is the addition, which is not listed here. Really nice to see the addition as one of one, as properties are sort of acting now as like the metadata for our art on the blockchain. And then also your licensing, which you have here. Um, I think would be smart to also have in the properties. I actually find things like the camera type, um, the f-stop and exposure and the ISO and stuff to be less important. And I like it. I like it. I like to see it. It's interesting to know, but I definitely think it comes second to the artist with the artist name, the edition, and the licensing. And so, if you take a look at the sales on this, so no owners. When it says one owner, that just means the original poster. Let's take a look at if we let's sort it by oldest, see when this came out. Alpha Male came out first. I'm sure they were probably all minted around the same time. So 2 months ago, artist started at 0.12 here, dropped the price down to 0.1. Let's take a look at um, maybe Twitter. See if this collection is so nice. You got the collection up here on the cover image, beautiful cover image. Um, And okay, so June 24th. Currently two collections available. Oh, so you are promoting the collection. That's good. And like if I'll go back on you're showcasing other artists. That's great. If I could go back on something I said about for one of the last collections, a good way to do this, and this is something that I got from Sonny actually, is taking a piece that you like from the collection and telling that story about it on Twitter, and leaving a link to where they could find that, bring in some intrigue. Anything to add, Sonny?
Yeah, I feel like this collection. How many? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine
9.
photos. I feel like it could have been a little bit tighter. It could have been like five best.
Agree.
Especially like if you are an artist who is who hasn't really found that roaring success. No pun intended there. Uh, uh, it's a much safer bet, if you curate yourself a little bit more harshly and, have a tighter body. Like, just from a visual perspective, I see, a variety of tones and, shades and lighting. So having that cohesion could have been could have worked a little bit better, but just my opinion.
No, totally agree here. So looking at this now, there's a couple shots here that sort of seem to repeat, right? So let's take a look at, Pride here. Seems like the other shot I was talking about before with the distractions. And so, I think this is a beautiful shot, right? I do feel this is a bit of a distraction, this blurred stick on the end here, but I think you could still crop this in the same aspect ratio. You could crop this still in the same similar aspect ratio, and maybe pull it off. Maybe that's the crop, or maybe it's a little bit different than that. But I think you can pull that off. But this shot is very similar, um, in some regard to how you framed this shot, right? So it's like I'd probably lose this one because this one is harder to salvage from the distractions, and stick with Pride, and maybe crop that to be a bit more clean. And then you have a few here like King of His Kingdom, Alpha Male, pretty similar shots. I mean, I understand one is from the side and this one here, and then this shot, the Queen. But yeah, some of these are a bit repeating in the composition and the environment. So I totally agree that could probably bring this down from like a collection of 9 to like a collection to I think 5. I think 5 is a good number. Like 5, like you said, 5 really strong pieces. For me, that would probably be something like Innocence, um, Deadly Stare, um, Motherhood, uh, Pride with that crop, and then one of these 3 pieces that sort of replicate. But yeah, other than that, yeah, I think that's perfect. I like the artist statement. I like your descriptions. Your titles are good. You're very good at writing, and so it's just a curation thing at this point. Yeah, cool. So next collection is Inevitable Emotions, and this is by Demetris Patisis, or AKA Texels or Texels. Okay, so I'll read the artist statement here. So the World Health Organization declared the pandemic. It was on 11 March 2020. Everyone was in shock. She was in shock. Now a lockdown was in effect, and a lot of emotions were flooding her soul as she was watching many people losing their lives, their jobs, the healthcare system being overrun, and all of these were a burden on her soul as well, to many of us. She found herself in a small apartment with no one around. She was alone. Whenever someone sees awe, anxiety, anger, despair, sadness, excitement, and happiness, we see the full potential of human nature unfolding. So, um, so there's artist statement there. Interesting artist statement. And then we're going to take a quick look through some of the images from afar. My first impression when I saw these is that to me it looks like a studio shoot. Either it's shot in a studio, or it's shot in front of a natural light source, where a lot of the environment is darkened out. If there was a piece for me here that could resemble how I feel about some of those years that we went through with COVID, I would say number 2, this shot I think resonated with me the most, and I felt that in this shot it felt a little bit more believable to me than in some of the other ones that felt like a little more staged. So like this one feels just a bit staged for me. This is so let's read the descriptions on this. So she discovered that the pandemic is here, and the quarantine is in effect. She won't go to work tomorrow. She won't see her mom. She won't leave the house, and that's how it all starts. She feels awe. Awe is a feeling of what is this? How do you say this word, Sonny? Re- uh, Reverential
Reverential.
respect. I don't know if I've heard that.
Reverent. Yeah, me neither.
Reverential respect mixed with fear or wonder. So something that I noticed is that each piece has a feeling. Right? So this one is anxiety. Anxiety is a feeling of fear, dread, and uneasiness. So I do like how your descriptions give something, lend something to each one of these images, right? So I'm just going to be completely honest because I have to be constructive and completely honest when I'm talking about a collection. It seems as though these are images that were shot in a single day. I mean, she's wearing the same lipstick. It's the same, it feels like the same lighting throughout. So it rather than a long outdrawn collection of time and effort and images that you've put together. It feels more like a photo shoot. So that would be my biggest criticism on these. And I I think it's hard when you're talking in a way of a documentary, and then the images are actually to actually use a studio type environment to convey those feelings. Like I would personally love to see her with an environment and how she is within environment, maybe in a candid aspect rather than a posed one. But this is I'm one opinion. So I don't know if Sonny, if you have an opinion on this specific collection and the artist statement and how it's executed.
Um, I kind of got the similar feeling as you, where some of these photos are they do seem like almost like a series of shots, one after the other. I love the idea behind it, and I feel like in the emotions in some of the photos really came through pretty well.
Hmm.
Some of them I thought could be a little bit better. Like they do feel like as if they are a little staged. Whenever we're talking about emotions and feelings and kind of putting them out and expressing them through photos, it is very important to kind of have that genuineness. Um, and well, not genuineness, but like there has to like, that sense of naturality
Authenticity. Yeah.
through, yeah, exactly, authenticity. And in some of the photos it does, but in some of the other ones it seems like it is like you said, a studio setting. Somebody is kind of trying to evoke that emotion or expression. Seems a little forced.
Yeah. So rather than going about it in a way where someone's trying to evoke that emotion, because that's actually acting, right? Um, you know, what about I mean, I don't know this photographer's specific past, and as far as maybe they are a studio photographer. I don't know if they've worked in documentary, but um, having creating a relationship with the subject and kind of photographing like the day to day throughout a time period could bring out some of those emotions in a different way. But like these two in the middle here, for instance, I think uh, a lot more genuine than some of the ones that were like are like a little bit more out there. Like this one here feels to be very forced. And I guess what this one is about excitement. So things are starting to look better after 2 months. She finds hope again, finds out that she would be able to go out again, feel the sun on her face, and embrace her family. Even with a mask, she feels excitement. Excitement is a feeling of great enthusiasm and eagerness. So I mean, when I found out that we were able to go back out again and we weren't quarantined and stuff, I don't know that I felt like this, you know. I was still confused. I was still quite confused about everything that was going on, and I still felt uncertain. So, um, you know, the ones that I resonated with, like number two, and number five, kind of sadness, kind of anxiety, those types of emotions. You know, clearly this photographer knows how to use lighting. Like I said, I don't know if it's studio or if it's, but you know, the lighting, the way it falls on the subject, really beautiful, really a good way of creating a beautiful image. It's just hard for me to make that connection between pandemic, COVID, and these photographs not being in a documentary setting. And I know the artists are here today too. Like, and so if this artist is here and they want to talk about the images, or if anyone wants to come up, and there's also a chat. There's also a chat, and I'm not going to be looking at the chat just because I'm sharing my screen, and then you guys are seeing me look at the chat. But if people have any questions that are the artist, or anyone that's not an artist, they have questions about what we're talking about, or maybe they don't agree with it and they have another perspective, feel free to type that in the chat room. But yeah, with that, I think so yeah, so 7 in the series, 7 available. I don't really know when this is minted, right? Because it's hard to find out when it's minted through uh Sloika. But yeah, maybe it was minted at this time when editions was really, you know, was really taking the stage, and so hard to sell some of these. But let's take a look at Texel's Twitter. Following each other, so documenting moments. So end of the line drops on 7/7. So dropping an edition actually today. So congratulations. I'll retweet this. Um, we have an edition coming out today. Interesting. Custom manifold contract. Props for figuring out how to do the manifold contract. So let's see if there's inevitable motions. Okay, cool. So less than a month left to collect inevitable motions. Witness the full potential of human nature unfolding. I'm wondering what that means. Less than a month left to collect. Is it? Are they going to be burned, or I'm not sure what that means? But still promoting the series. Cool. All right. Excellent. Good luck with your edition sale today as well. So we'll move on to the next collection here. This is Ways Out by Maria Nikiforova. And so black and white images. We're all just looking for peace of mind. This collection of photographs is about finding balance in life, overcoming hard times. It's about accepting the feelings, even the darker ones. It's about dealing with pain on our own, and finally setting ourselves free. Ways Out is a collection of 5 one-of-one photographs inspired by several years of my personal crisis and multiple attempts to get out of it and fix my own life. Making art, spending time in nature, doing yoga, meditating, spending time on my own. All these things help me overcome hard times. So photographers Maria, but these images don't. There are other people in the images, so they're not exactly self portraits. Actually, before we dive in, let's see. Floor price 0.09. You go from 0.09 to 0.2 on this image. We have 2 sold, one at 0.05, one at 0.09. A little confusion around all the prices here. Last activity, 4 months ago. The Polaroid bought this piece for 0.05, and someone bought this other piece for 0.09. So collection was minted. Let's see. Oldest image minted 5 months ago, and started with 0.05, raised the price. So price raise after 4 months of no sales. You normally see it the other way around. You normally see people lowering the price. I don't know if raising or lowering the price is the answer in times like that. But just looking at it overall here, um, hard for me to put a story together with these, just because it's pretty random, right? I mean, it feels like that this is like a conceptual. These are like conceptual photographs where it's thought out beforehand and conceptual. This shot almost seems more like a staged dance photo. This feels a bit less conceptual. Maybe that's yoga that they were talking about, and ways of healing, ways out. Business guy in a business suit flipping on the beach here, and then this shot feels. Um, this feels a little bit more like a street photo or like a documentary in some way. It's a beautiful shot. Someone did pick this up. It's just sort of trying to figure out how these images will tie together. But let's see. All right. About the image. Um, an entirely improvised shot, which happens a lot in my photography. For creative shootings, it's important for me to feel completely free and not to stick to a certain plan all the time. Let creativity flow. This series of photos is my personal photography project, a way to express my feelings visually. You got the model's name, local artist, friend. We always support each other. Shot at sunset in the fields, place that is forever and by my heart. License, no properties. Obviously this collection was created 5 months ago, so we weren't even really talking about properties then. But that's it's a good example of why staying up to date on the space and what's happening, and because you could easily add some of those properties in now. Uh, yeah, I mean, obviously the photographer, understands composition and storytelling in a single image. I just think that curation here is probably the biggest thing for me, um, and also let's see what the artist has done. The account does not exist. Okay, so account no longer exists on Twitter, Instagram. So Instagram account, but no real promoting of. This is a shot. Let's see, link in bio. No promoting of the work on here, and deleted Twitter account. So deleted Twitter account. I don't know. Maybe they were banned. Maybe they created a new Twitter account. But uh, yeah, I mean that's all I really have on this here. Like I said, photographer knows how to make an image. Looks like having a tough time at storytelling and moving the work, even with a floor price of 0.09. I can't really find out where the artist is operating at this time. I don't know. Do you have anything to add on here, Sonny?
No, Mike, I think you really covered it well. I like this. I like this collection a lot. If I had to nitpick, I do not like the titles. The way that they are done, like number one, number two. I think it's just a crude way of doing it, and I think it's a missed opportunity to express something more than what is written in the photo or what is in the visually is in the photo. I feel like it's a great opportunity, and weighs out number four. Imagine all of these photos to be in different galleries, and you would have the collection title, be alongside the photo anyway. So it seems like a repetition. When you look out, like right on top, weighs out is the name of the collection, and then weighs out number four is again the name of the photo or the title of the photo. So if I had to nitpick, that would be it.
Yeah, I feel like it makes it a little bit less collectible that you have a title that everyone else has just this specific title to, rather than giving us something a little bit more poetic. Totally agree with that. Cool. So, all right, awesome. Let's move on to the next collection. Um, Next collection is Philadelphia Point of View, and this is by Philly Suspect. So, right off the bat, I usually notice, I look at the items, 25 images. That's a lot. 25 images is a lot to drop at once. I've seen people drop a lot more. Floor price 0.2 there, one of ones, obviously. Zero volume, right? So let's first of all find out when it was minted. So collection minted 4 months ago, list price 0.2. So 4 months, no sales. And there are, let's see this assortment of various perspectives within the city of Philadelphia. Photography, exploring, roof-topping, always something I wanted to pursue. A few years ago, it all started. I took the risk to partake in these activities and hobbies. Words cannot describe the feeling atop of some of these rooftops in the city of Philadelphia. The crisp air, the height, the view, etc. Every detail about being so high up and witnessing a view many others never have is truly fascinating. Culture became a passion, a true living passion that grew constantly for me. The general ideology of a photo to me is that there is a memory behind it that will live with me for the rest of my life. Each photo has a dissimilar meaning behind it. These photos show a moment of time, a pause in the way of life. I present this collection showcasing the radiant city of Philadelphia from my own perspective. Escape from the norm, take risks. Phase one. So it seems like he has multiple pictures in phases. 25 unique one-of-one NFTs available. So phase one been up for it looks like he has a lot up here according to this banner. Um, and so, before we even get into the pictures, right? It looks like, you've dropped phase one with the idea that it looks like this has to be at least 100 photos up here. That maybe you're going to do, 6 phases or something, right? And so to drop that many without sort of having any idea that any of them are going to be collected is a huge risk to take, right? With my phases, with my series, I've reached out to many different just friends to have eyes on it, and reached out to collectors to see who was interested beforehand, so that I could have some of it sold before I dropped it into the public. And what that does is it obviously creates some FOMO if you have some sold before it hits public, builds some anticipation. And so it looks like you just kind of picked some random images from around Philadelphia, and you drop them in here as 25. A lot of people did that many months ago, and we're learning new ways to do things, and none of them have sold. And in a way, that's a good thing, because it means that with the feedback from today, and I know you're in the chat here, as I saw you in here, with the feedback from today, you could reorganize this, and or even if you wanted to, because it's the collection has been around for 4 months. You could even delete the collection, which is something you could copy and paste your description, create a new collection, but maybe you just drop, since you weren't able to sell any, maybe you just drop 5 at first, right? 5 or 8 of the strongest stuff. So when I look through this, some of the ones that stood out to me were some of the shots that asked more questions for me than they gave answers. So the strongest piece for me was actually Skywalker, right? Open this up, and it was really interesting, man. You got this guy, and he's walking across what looks to be like sort of like a tightrope in a building, almost like. And then you have all these other people in the background, and they all have the same stride. Look at this. They all have this triangular open stride. I don't know how you did this. It's very tough to get this person with a triangle open stride, this person, all the way up to this guy, a guy up here above, or a man or female above. This shot is really interesting to me. This is like some Black Mirror Matrix type glitch in the glitch in the code of the universe to me. Like I love this photograph. And so I looked through some of these, and after I saw that one, I thought, what are some other interesting shots in here that kind of make me ask questions? This shot, I believe it's live. It could be live. Like, this is really interesting. Like, you have a word here. You have all these footprints here. like who was here in the footprints. I'm sure it's you. And then you have these leading lines that go out into this sort of dreary, older looking, cityscape. That's Philadelphia. This photo has a lot of life to me, and it has the word live in it, which made sense to me from sort of a poetic standpoint. Another one, Mr. Mirror. Not sure I'm crazy about that title, but really interesting composition and lots of beautiful symmetry. And you capture the subject, which might be yourself or someone else, but right between these shadows, which is really interesting. That's another interesting shot to me. I'm going to try to point out the ones first that kind of took my eye. Another one here, this one, rotting away, right? Beautiful, beautiful textured photograph from the interior. Great exposure where we're able to actually see a scene within each of these windows from the outside with this golden light coming in here. Very intriguing. So let's just talk about now some of the shots that those beautiful shots, and there's more, but I'm not going to talk about everyone, but some of those got lost for me in repetitive shots of like, okay, so you have these two shots, stuck in a thunderstorm, right? And you got lightning on this one, and interesting shot, right? Dramatic. I think there's a lot of people out there that would collect a shot like that. Not me in particular, because for me it gives a lot. I'm more interested in the stuff that's a little bit more abstract in a thought process, right? But then but there are people that would definitely collect this. But then next to it you have this shot as well, this Christmas morning shot, and it's while interesting because you have the green on here and the red here. I don't know that you did that you did the best job here with this foreground that you wanted to create another layer with, and maybe someone else might disagree with me, and that's fine. And some of the other shots just seem like a bit repetitive, and so you have two shots here. You have one with your legs out here. You got your watch looking out on the city. I've seen it done before. And you have another one that's very similar with City Hall. Now, like I said, people do collect these type of images, but don't know that you need two within in the same collection. I'll wrap this up by just saying that I think that you could tighten this down a lot with some really strong images, like come out with 5. The reason I say 5 and I dropped that down a lot from 25 is because you have 0 volume and the collection's been out for a long time. So you've obviously either struggled with, either getting this in the eyes of collectors or talking about the work enough on your Twitter or showcasing other artists or getting people intrigued enough to come in here. And let's see this is an interesting, how many views do you have? 15 views, 2 favorites in that span. It's not that much. So probably something here with your own relationship building and marketing and stuff. But yeah, I would probably break this down to a much smaller collection. But rather than just breaking down this collection, I probably would delete the whole collection just to get rid of that history, right? Just to get rid of the history of, um, you know, 4 months ago, minted, listed, and just that gap where nothing had sold, and just kind of starting over fresh with this. Let's see, as far as descriptions go, let's open up Skywall like that. Let's see if you have a description. Cool. You have a long description here. No properties. That's normal for back then. It was a normal weekday afternoon, walking from one building to the next building, a typical day exploring and gaining access to rooftop views. I never realized that these statues of people, so they're statues. Okay. So that makes sense as to how they're just all frozen in time like that. Um, these statues of people in the lobby. I'd actually probably leave that part out about how they're statues. I believe these were real people walking on the beams at first. As gullible as I am, So yeah, maybe as gullible as I am too, but maybe it's a strong selling point to keep that open ended. I quickly realized that I've decided that they were actually statues. Caught me off guard, but definitely caught my interest. Eventually, I researched that this is an art installation, Humanity in Motion. Interesting. So you got a description, licensing. You can put all that stuff in the properties as you start over. Um, I'm gonna close out on that and just see if if Sonny, if you agree with me on some of this, or if you have anything you'd like to add, or if you disagreed with me on anything.
No, I think your thoughts resonate with me. I think there's got to be a little bit more curation here, and a little bit. I mean, the concept is pretty cool, and we've seen these kind of concepts do really well in NFTs. I think it needs to be a little bit more thought out, and the photo selection probably can be done in batches, like you had said, and because I do see similar photos in there, and maybe they can all be part of, like, one drop, similar photos as part of one drop, and then some other batch of similar photos as part of the next one, and so on and so forth. There are some really good photos here.
Yeah, and we see like Drifter Shoots and Tyler's Journey. They sell images that
Chris
are
Haitha,
similar. Go ahead.
Chris Haitha with his high rises, row homes, like, it's got that feel
Hmm.
where you're kind of taking a different take on architecture and like um, cityscapes, and the skyline and whatnot. Um, yeah, a little bit more cohesion probably would go a long way here.
And I think Philly Suspect is actually in here. Wow, we got a lot of people in this one today. Awesome. If you wanted to unmute him, and if you want to talk about how you feel about the critique, and if you had any questions, or if you thought some of the stuff that we said was spot on or disagree, like, we would love to hear from you as an artist, and where you want to go with this from here, because clearly you have some great images here, right? And 4 months is a long time without sales, and it can be tough, right? So would you consider dropping these in batches, or redoing this collection as OpenSea lets you do that? And you could also respond if you wanted in a text chat, but just seeing if the artist wanted to say anything. And if not, that's totally cool too. Hey, it looks like he's unmuted. I don't know if we're getting background noise or Philly Suspect. You there? Okay, so maybe not. Well, he can always type in the text chat, and if he wants to speak on voice, he could let us know, so we can mute him for now. Awesome. I think we can move on to the next collection. I think that's really good advice that we've given on that. So next up is actually another edition, because we're looking at editions too. It is an edition market. I think it's an edition one of one market again right now. Been seeing one of ones do pretty well. So this is called Linktree, and this is by Ayush Clicks, Ayushh Clicks. I think that's how you say it. And so, what is grayscale though? I'm gonna open this up. It says grayscale. So monochrome moments. Um, you don't shoot in black and white. You shoot for black and white. It's a mindset by Josh Rose. In my opinion, grayscale photos shows the human emotions the best. I remember when I first started photography, I used to dislike black and white pictures. The main reason being the reach on social media. Black and white photos usually struggles a lot to grab traction in front of vibrant images on social media. So just by reading that first little piece there, I would, you know, and maybe that's just the beginning, right? But when we're worried about, engagement, or like what other people think, that's sort of like when we go out and we start making work that's, for other people and not for ourselves. And a lot of times that doesn't necessarily resonate. So, this first paragraph would be a good reason for me to want to create black and white, actually. But as I read, so let's read more. But as I read more and more photos and photography articles, I fell in love with grayscale photography. In fact, all of my winning entries for Vivo walks were in grayscale. My love towards grayscale photos can be seen by my Genesis collection of one of ones, which is purely a black and white collection of pictures. And the love is ever growing. In this collection, I'll be sharing some of my best clicked grayscale pictures as additions. The pictures which gave me the title of Vivographer, and the pictures that are very close to my heart. So congratulations on that, getting those Vivographer awards. I know a lot of people were in that, and so that's awesome. They say no picture is a bad picture, so do I feel. Okay. So let's take a look at the edition. Um, so it's good to see you only have one edition in here so far. Since there's well, and there's 8 owners too. That's awesome. And it looks like you have yourself set up to maybe create like an editions collection. And just remember this idea, this thought, everyone, guys. Just because something is shot in monochrome or black and white is not a good enough reason to make a collection out of just black and white, right? So, and I'm not saying that this artist is going to do that, but I do see this a lot where people think that just because the images are all black and white, that they tell a story or that they can be cohesive. So I'm interested to see where this artist goes with this, and hoping that we have a consistent theme of black and white, but images that also speak to each other. So let's check out Linktree. Really, really, really cool photograph. Like without even reading the artist statement, I looked at this and I automatically knew like he set this up to where the tree is just like growing out of his head, and he's trying to say more than he's trying to say multiple things. So artist statement. Scientifically, everything and everyone is connected in this universe. The sky connects to the earth on the horizon, the water connects to the shore on the coast, man connects to woman by way of biology, and a photographer connects to pictures by the camera. In my perception, this picture is also an example of how nature and man is connected together. But where are the connections? I'm sorry, but where there are connections, there is a junction. What, according to you, is the junction of this image? So really well written, in my opinion, description here. Gives us an idea that scientifically things are all connected. I've had times spiritually where I felt things were all connected. I've done things in my life where um, I've focused on negativity, and I've received negativity from the universe. I focused on abundance and positivity, and I've received abundance and positivity. So I totally resonate with this description here. So I think it's a beautiful image. Let's see the activity on it. Yeah, interesting. So a couple of transfers to Alpha Trilogy, Leslie Spurlock, and then and Dixia, and then some sales after that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sales. This all happened in the span of 18 days. It's not that bad, 18 days, right? Because you had 8 owners, well, 7 owners. You're considered an owner. 16 total. I definitely see this selling out over time. I'll definitely retweet this. I really love the image. Let's see, we'll go on to properties. So this is a consistent thing that I'm starting to see in properties. Actually, you do have the additions. All right, 16. A lot of people are not putting the additions in their properties for some reason. Also, let's see, you have the licensing in your description here. You have photographer edition. You have your license here. Yeah, might consider adding the license into your properties too, right? We're looking at properties of the future, right? I'm pretty sure properties of the future, and that they are basically like the metadata that sticks with the collector. So everyone knows, like, the main description in your artist statement you can always change, but once you sell these images, you really can't change the description, especially if you didn't create your own contract and you did it on OpenSea. these descriptions are sort of like receipts. These properties are sort of like receipts that stay with the collector. So we want to make sure that we have all the important information in there for the collector. But I'm a fan of the addition and the idea that that it looks like the artist is waiting for this to sell out before they drop anything new. Sonny, had anything on this one?
Sorry about that. I was searching for the
Searching for.
quiet spot in my house.
Oh, a quiet spot in your house. You good now? All right, so maybe Sonny's looking for a quiet spot in his house right now. If anything, we come back. Or
Sorry about that. It was I don't know why my dogs just hate the Amazon delivery guy, and I keep telling them that, dude, that's who brings your food home. But but I love this. I love this photo. I think this is a very cool take on this moment that Ayush kind of snapped. I love the description. I love the black and white, and I love the mood. I'm an avid reader. Now most of my reading is on screens, but when I was little, and all throughout growing up, I loved reading books or reading something written on paper. And this kind of reminds me of I feel like reading newspapers like the way that this gentleman is going to be something that is gonna probably vanish in a few decades. So that was something interesting, that this guy just kind of found a spot in the park or whatever it is, and is just enjoying the newspaper.
Yeah, and maybe that tree is the new knowledge that he's gaining from the reading. That's interesting.
Oh wow, yeah. I mean, it almost seems like a tree of knowledge coming out of his head.
Yeah, it's a link through the knowledge that he's getting, and he's got new knowledge now, which could link out to other people. So it's kind of like what we do here with the critiques in AMA. That like what you guys learn from this, that and you're able to create more cohesive collections and learn about the descriptions and everything like that. That you don't hold on to that knowledge and that you pass it on to other people so that they have the knowledge as well. But yeah, really cool. I like this a lot. So cool. The next one is a really interesting one from Sloika here. And this is Abstract Abnormalities by Adam Carity. And I didn't know that these were photographs at first, but I read the artist statement. Abstract Abnormalities is a journey into the abstract world of colorful light reflecting off wet asphalt captured with a digital camera and a macro lens. The journey begins when the sun sets and the rain falls. There's something magical about how the city lights dance on the blacktop, and the rush of going out into the rain to find these dance parties is something I've been quite addicted to. Really cool. This collection is an interpretive work of art, and each piece's name reflects what I see or feel in the image. So there's some collector perks. First collector gets an airdrop of a custom abstract made specifically for you for being the first collector. So that must have already happened. There's two collectors in this so far. Collect 3 or more from the series, receive a signed fine art print of each piece you collected. Then when the collection sells out, all original collectors will get an airdrop of a custom abstract made specifically for them. This means that the first collector of the series will receive a total of 2 airdropped custom abstracts. That's interesting. I like that idea because it kind of kickstarts the first sale in your project because that first collector knows that they're going to get 3 pieces. That's pretty cool. And so we go down, we look into the pieces. I mean, if we just go overall look here,
They're very colorful. Color theme seems to be pretty similar throughout. They're very psychedelic. Some of them are mirrored images. So just right off the bat, the first two really beautiful, but a bit too similar in my opinion. Like almost to the point where the vertical looks like it could be a crop of this, even though we know it's you can see the colors different. I wouldn't have laid them out next to each other in this. I probably would have put something like this one or this one down here in between to sort of break up this this color, or this just these two being so similar. So first two mirrored, but let's look at these large, right? Because we have Sloika, and we can take a look at these large on black, and we can really get an idea of how detailed these are, and really boggles my mind as to how these are photographs of like water on asphalt. And maybe there's more. Maybe there's more processing to it. Maybe there's not. But these two mirrored ones pretty wild. Third one, this third one is really interesting to me though. I like actually that it's not mirrored and that it's like different all the way through, and it feels like a mask, right? And this one's called Masquerade, so it makes sense. It feels like a mask and multiple layers. This is my favorite one within the collection. Before reading the title or anything, I saw this as a man or a woman or just an entity, and it felt like this is like the brain here with a lot going on in here, like its own galaxy going on in the brain, and then it felt like this was an antenna that was letting out more information out here into the cosmos or something. So this one, I really loved it. This even feels down here like it's like, an Adam's apple, collarbones, a rib cage and chest, shoulders. I mean, wow, that one. And, I think that one was collected too. This is collected by Amberlin.eth, Supreme Being. And beautiful, beautiful title. No real description here. This collection's interpretive work, the name part. So just basically kind of a copy paste from a portion of the description. Okay. So let's look through some more of these. Another really interesting looking, entity. At least what I'm seeing. This one's really beautiful. This reminds me of like I used to get, sometimes I actually get these visual migraines where I have a migraine, but there's no pain, there's no headache, but it's called an ocular something. And I get in front of my vision, I get these, it blocks everything. I can't even read, and I see this for like 30 minutes. But it really reminds me of a migraine. Beautiful. This one's very weird. This is like something just melting down. This really interesting depth of field. I'm not sure how you're doing this, but really, really cool stuff. Really beautiful abstract piece. Interesting. Looks like this guy's up to something evil, or yeah, he looks like he's a devious fella. These eyes, this mouth. He's a creator of something. Looks like he's like a genie or something. Maybe there's like smoke above. It's kind of stuff that I'm getting out of this. This is my own interpretation, obviously. Interesting one. We ended on that one there. I guess that's the last shot. Really interesting colors. So looking at this, we have how many pieces? 10 pieces, 8 available, so 2 pieces collected. You have anything that you take from this this collection, son?
It's very difficult for me to critique this because it's so unique, and it is absolutely I seem like I got a whiplash from all the colors. Um, and I mean, this is an incredibly. It's almost like a celebration of color here, and I think each image is kind of unique in its own way, and I love it. I love how in this one I could almost see the shape of a head.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, this was my favorite one. So I think, yeah,
Pretty cool.
this collection is really like, it's a really subjective collection, and it's very up to like the viewer's interpretation. I think it kind of brings us all into our own world of maybe a dream we had, or something we've seen, or yeah, it's really really interesting. And there's Adam here. Uh, yes. Okay. Oh, Adam is here. If you want to unmute Adam Carity, would love to hear about the process of your work. If you want to come up and talk about it a bit.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up, Adam? How are you doing, man? It's good
What's up, legend?
to hear
Man, I'm honored to.
hear your voice, bro. It's good to hear your voice. I know you're very supportive in the community. You've retweeted a lot of my stuff, and you're really supportive of other artists. So
100%,
look,
man. I'm
happy to.
inspired by all you guys and gals and everybody in the space. So it's an honor to be sitting in here and looking at everybody's work and to hear your feedback, hear Sonny's feedback, and to yeah, just be blessed by the opinions of others and different things to take into consideration. But
Yeah.
yeah. So
So
what do you want to know?
okay, so first of all, how we spoke about some of the images and how they made me feel, or what I got out of the images. Um, is it part of your process to have it up to the yeah? Well, oh yeah, well it says it in the artist statement that it's
Yeah.
interpretive. So to hear it from us, like speaking about it, is that sort of make you feel like you've hit a goal in some sense, that there is.
100%. Yeah,
Okay.
so to give you a little background real quick on me, I'm 42 years old, but in my high school days, my late teens, maybe mid-teens, 16 to probably I don't know, maybe 18, I did a lot of psychedelics. And so, I used to stare at a whole bunch of crazy crap. And so some of this
Yeah.
takes me back, but that like when I first started stumbling into this realm of type of photography, it actually spawned more from going out at night and doing shallow depth of field with light trails and just different aspects of bokeh and doing night scenes. And then a friend of mine got a macro lens and started hitting that same type of stuff with the macro lens. And it wasn't anything like this, but he inspired me to get a macro lens and go out and grab some shots. And I never want to imitate. I more so want to be inspired and kind of make it my own thing. And that's where this kind of evolved from, was that time, and that was back in 2018. So
Interesting.
yeah, and
Interesting.
so
So yeah, I actually, I went through like I went through a few years where I was experimenting like heavily in psychedelics with intention,
mhm,
because I had read so much about how you know going into these spaces and these realms, whereas like drugs like alcohol and other drugs that will uh, have you escape from your problems, where psychedelics like put a lot of things right in front of you and make you face them and challenge them, and it helped a lot of people through like depression and
yes,
anxiety and stuff. And so a lot of what I'm seeing in some of these are like things that I've seen like on ayahuasca or DMT, and
hmm
they're very very relatable. And if I'm sure you're a fan of Alex Gray. I see some influence from Alex Gray in this work. And so,
I don't
uh,
even know
uh,
who that is, to be honest. I gotta check them out
re-
now.
oh wow, okay, yeah, you should really look up Alex Gray. He's a artist that paints off of what he's seen on dimethyltryptamine, which is they call the spirit molecule, which takes you to a
Crazy.
realm where there's supposedly entities and you communicate with them. And he's done. He's a very very famous artist. If you just
I probably have seen the work. I just don't recognize the name.
Alex Webb. So, oh yeah, no, that's the photographer I love. I'm talking about Alex Gray. So Alex Gray, you've seen it. I mean,
Oh, I've seen those.
yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
I've seen
Yeah.
those.
Yeah. So I see a lot of influence in your. Well, maybe not influence because you haven't looked at it much, but like, look, you guys are seeing some of the same
That's wild.
archetypes, entities. But yeah, he's phenomenal, very
Whoa.
famous artist. And
Yeah, man.
in New York, I've gone to his house. His home is called the Chapel of Sacred Mirrors. This is a really famous piece. Look at this. His house,
Whoa.
yeah, he hand paints these, by the way.
What?
His house, yeah, this is net of being. His house is called the Chapel of Sacred Mirrors, and it's open to public. And they have events like spiritual events where like they have different yoga teachers, and like we're doing yoga and stuff like that. And they talk about plant medicines, and and they have live art going on. That's in upstate New York, though. If you were ever around that, you might be
Oh, that's a
interested in
beautiful area.
going to one of those events. But yeah,
Yeah,
beautiful work. And
yeah. And you
and
you hit the nail on the head with the supreme being. That definitely, that's what I saw in it. The shoulders, the collarbone, the head, the brain. You nailed it right on the head. Exactly what I saw in that.
but
And that's the thing, is like I've got so many just random things that don't even like look like anything to me, but
mhm.
the ones that actually move me and that I see something or it makes me feel something. So like chaos theory, that one doesn't look like a particular anything, right? Like the one next to supreme being, was
Yeah,
actually, it's called Space Invaders, and that reminded me of old school video games playing with my dad and my brother. He'd take us to the arcade, and that looks like a Space Invader creator. But the ones that don't look like anything like that one made me feel
love
something.
this.
That's chaos theory, or like I almost named it beautiful chaos.
I like chaos theory, and I like your
Yeah.
titles. You like your titles a lot too, right?
And
Your
then the
title.
one to the left of it, the womb, that's because it looks like a womb to me. It looks like a woman's womb. Like he branches out,
Yeah.
fallopian tubes, and all that fun stuff. But anyways, yeah, that's kind of reminiscent of my trippy days. But I was more so looking for something different to put out photography wise. And like I said, going out and capturing the typical night stuff and trying to find your own unique scenes and put your own story to it. That's what I stumbled on, and kind of like my own little niche. There's been a few copycats out there. I say copycats because they came to me direct and you know
Asked you exactly
to,
how you did it.
but
They
yeah,
asked you
exactly.
exactly. Yeah. So I wouldn't even ask that. Like at this point, I love the images. I don't know if it's just photography or if it's blended with other things, and that's fine. And I
No,
don't.
it's just photography. Some of those were captured with a 35 mil on a Canon T6i. The majority of them were on my Sony A7R4 with a 90 millimeter Sony G Master macro, and
Mhm.
it's 100. I've got a couple behind the scenes that I posted on my Twitter, and it's really just. It is
Wild, man.
photos, unless they're mirrored. There's color and exposure adjustments, but nothing is added. Nothing. It's just straight up, yeah, light
Well,
reflecting off
cool.
of wet asphalt. So
Cool, man. Excellent work. Love to hear the backstory, and you sound very passionate. So, yeah, I mean, you sold two of them, right? So, like, uh, it's been how long ago did you mint them?
been a while. It was February. I was Sloika's 100th mint on 2/22/22 of all days.
Yeah. So,
But I struggle
Sloik.
with the marketing.
Well, yeah, I mean, Sloika was a little slower back then too, right? Sloika has picked up a lot,
Yeah,
and a lot more
and
people
it's
feel
buried.
comfortable. And we went into an edition market. Obviously, Ethereum crashed. Like a lot of things
Yeah.
happen. Had a lot of that happen, maybe you've sold out your collection and whatnot. So you say you struggle with marketing, right? Maybe I think a lot of people think of marketing as like putting advertisements in people's face. I like to look at marketing as more like building relationships and like storytelling and stuff. So
Right.
maybe if you took a piece like uh, chaos theory, right, and you take that piece, you post it on your Twitter, and you write something about how that image makes you feel, or why it's chaos theory to you, or something, and put a link to say these are unique one of ones that I'm creating out of wet asphalt during the rain, and you can find my collection here. I think giving like a little story with an image on the Twitter is good enough to bring some of that. And the other part of marketing is sort of like, like I don't even like to use the word marketing. It's like, but like
Yeah.
showcasing other artists. Join a Discord that does abstract stuff, or a Discord that does macro. Um, Dave Krugman shoots, his new collection Drip Drop. He shoots puddles. It's completely different from this, but you guys are both shooting abstract color. Like, jump into his Discord and like, talk a bit, or like, there's ways of doing it. Like I'm not a marketer either. I know my strengths and my weaknesses, but I'm sort of learning. I learn from watching other people and taking a little bit of like other people that I see that are successful in doing things, or just like
Yeah.
some of the people that I networked in here, give me advice on how to do drop mechanics, and or talk about like that was Sonny that told me like, hey, take a piece of yours and focus on the story, like, and make it about the art, be less business and make it more about the art. And a lot of times that resonates with the collectors. So that's one way you can do it. But thanks for
Appreciate that.
coming up, man.
Hey, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks, Adam. Cool. So, all right. We move on. We have three more. So this one is When I Think of Istanbul, and it's by Umit Hurt. Okay.
Mike,
I'll read.
sorry
Yeah.
to bother you, but I gotta bounce.
Yeah.
It
No
was
problem.
fun doing this with you, and thank you again for having me, and thank you everybody for listening to me.
Yeah, no, Sonny, absolute pleasure to have you. Yeah, anytime you want to just jump in, we do these on Thursdays mostly, so you can just jump in if you want, listen, and if you ever want to add any feedback, we really appreciate all of your feedback. It's been really really great to hear from you and to have you today.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye bye now. Cool. All right. Yeah. So when I think of Istanbul by McCurt, and let's see, Istanbul is a unique and inspirational city for many artists, writers, photographers. Ara Güler, Bruno Barbet, Nikos uh, Nikos Economopoulos, Alex Webb. That's the guy who I just pulled up by accident on Google. He's an amazing photographer, and many other photographers. This city that connects two continents is a love-hate paradox for most Istanbulites. For me, it's part of my soul. I've been living far from Istanbul for the last few years. It's not possible to share all the photos and memories, but these are when I think of Istanbul come to mind. So, 15 items. No sales have happened. Let's see. Floor price is 0.1. No, one photo is 0.15. Let's go look at the old. Look at it. Sort it from the oldest, so you can see when this collection was minted. So 4 months ago, minted, started at 0.15, changed down to 0.1. We see that often people lower their price. They think that that's going to help them sell the collection. Collection still doesn't have any sales though, so probably
has something to do with, you know, a bit of marketing, but all like, or just, you know, storytelling and being in the eyes of others. I think it also has something to do with the fact that, you know, this collection feels like a bit all over the place in a sense. So we have, there's some images in here that really stand out to me and are beautiful. So foggy, um, I really like the images where you're capturing people and you do a really good job at capturing people from behind and telling a story. And this image is really beautiful to me. There's a separation between the two here. I wonder if they're a couple or not. Her hand behind her hair like that. She's laid back. She seems like she's very comfortable. I wonder what this guy's thinking about, looking off into the distance. The fishing pole here is like a really nice um, addition to the right side of the frame because we have a boat on the left side of the frame, and so it you know it just evens out the frame. Beautiful photograph, right? I think that's my favorite in the set. Um, this is another interesting one here. Istanbulite, really great framing of this circular light pattern. Man smoking a cigarette here. We don't know what's happening with the other man here. Take a look at some other ones. So you know, in the one here of this girl from behind. So you have a way of shooting people from behind that evokes some emotion. Like I love her hat. I love this little piece of warm golden hour sunlight on the hat and coming through the hair. Really beautiful. Looks like she's looking out into the distance and she's reflecting. And you have a ferry boat just leaving here. Beautiful shot. Seems like something that I would shoot from behind on my ferry series. I do like to get a lot of those behind shots. Then I go to an image like this though, like, and it just doesn't make any sense to me within this collection at all. It seems like a different photographer. Seems like a vertical shot snapped iPhone. It just seems like a snapshot. I don't know what the subject is. There's a statue here that doesn't have any head, but what's the significance to this tree, these branches and stuff? I'm very lost in this photo. I don't know what my subject is. Then you have this shot here, holy light, which like you know another shot where it seems like when you have a human element as your subject, this is beautiful. This light is just absolutely beautiful, and like all these details on the gold, wonderful image. And he's looking into this like almost as if maybe he's in deep thought or prayer. There's a mirror here, shot, red on gold, beautiful image. That would probably work really
Yeah.
well as an addition.
Or
What's up, Goon? You like that? Were you trying to say something, Goon?
no, sorry.
Oh, okay. Cool. And so, yeah, you know, the collection is a little bit, you know, I understand that it's about Istanbul, but it's a little bit all over, right? We have a cat here. We have this shot that looks like a snapshot. We have this man in a church or you know a place seek sanctuary. This couple on the water here. This is like, and then you have this shot here that's 0.15. Um, and I you know it's an interesting composition. All right, because you framed this guy here. I don't think it's interesting enough to be you know almost double, you know, price and a half more than some of the other images that I pointed out that I thought were really good. So a little confused in the pricing here. You have a giant mole here. This is a shot from above of the mole. Don't think it's your strongest shot. So, but it's just you have a large mix here. So maybe it's like you could focus on the solitude of these, like this shot, Ferry, um, this one, Foggy, right? I did work on the titles a little bit too to not be so direct. Istanbulite, right? Maiden's Tower. Like if we look at these images, you know, even Holy Light, uh, these ones where we have these subjects that are sort of, it's about solitude really. And then you have these other images that they just don't fit. And so I could probably curate this down to from 15 images down to like a good 6 images. And so that's the biggest thing that I see within this collection here. And it's like, let's take a look at what your descriptions and properties and stuff look like. Property is Istanbul. I mean, I think that you should add, not that important as a property. You have addition in the description. Start bringing over the important stuff from the descriptions, guys, into the properties as well, like licensing and addition in here is really. So you can go back and do that. I mean, good artist statement, but just you're you gotta cull down this collection, in my honest opinion, to actually tell a story. And I think that your best storytelling is when you have one or two subjects in the frame. Seem like a similar type of photographer to me, where you're really good at that. That less is more. You know, in your photographs, less is more. These simple, minimal images that you're able to take that tell a profound story I see is what you're good at from this collection. So yeah, with that's all I really have on this. You have to also, I mean, obviously, you haven't sold anything. It's be very easy for you to even delete this collection since it's old, recreate a new collection with a tighter set of images. Yeah. So with that, I'll move on to monochromes, and this is by Maji Vigilani. It's a tough one. Think about that. Okay, so for this here, we have to me, black and white is like cheese to my macaroni or sugar to my spice. Life tastes bland without them. You know, I'd probably go into like a more in-depth artist statement, like why, like you talking about black and white is important to you by saying making this statement. You also put it in quotation, so I'm not sure if it's said by you, but I'd like to hear from you as to why black and white is the medium in which you chose to do the storytelling within your photography. And so um, coming to the photographs, I think this is the one here. This one stood out to me the most. Although I don't know how this is about gratitude. I didn't get that from the actual image. I only got that from the description. But it's a really really moody image. I love the black and white processing here. It feels very noir. Um, the people in the foreground very interesting. You obviously you have all these birds flying through. It's a very beautiful image. So in the description you talk about it. Uh, Mesmerizing was the view. I could feel the freshness around me. I sat down to pray. I sat down, leaving my grief behind. I felt good. I felt home. I raised my hand and thanked the Almighty for abundance, everything that showered on me. What else could I ask for? Blessed with a life and love. Anything more would make me greedy. What else could I ask? Only I could do was thank and pray. It was time to leave grief behind. It was time to be one with the Creator. And so that makes sense to me as far as gratitude goes. It's hard for me to just look at the image alone and get gratitude from this. But I'm going to take. So you didn't have any properties there. I'm guessing it's probably an older collection. Let's take a look at this is the first one you minted. So yeah, 4 months. Kept the price the same. So Mojo heads, picked that up. Probably to gift to somebody with the Mojo heads, something really cool that they do. So you have 2 sales, right? Full gratitude you sent to someone. Spirit of the Eagle was picked up on Mojo heads. And you have it. So this collection as well as the last collection some really great images in here just don't make sense to me as a story. And so what I said before about how, just because you're photographing in black and white and monochrome doesn't mean that the images speak to each other. And so like this skyscraper is about architecture and like symmetry and lines and minimalism. But Spirit of the Eagle is about something completely different, right? And so maybe these two fit together, skyscraper and the halt. They're both cityscapes. But um, if I was you, what I would really do is I would, some practice that I did when I was in school was I would print out, you know, let's say all of my black and white images, and I would move them around with my hands on a table. Or you could just use Adobe Bridge and you can put all your black and white images in there and move them around. But I like to do it physically. I would move around all my black and white images and I would put them into different categories. I would say, oh, this is a cityscape. Oh, this evokes the motion of solitude. Put that there. This is, this is macro. And then, it's almost like, think of an idea of like you have a bunch of shoe boxes, right? And you put over your years of shooting, you put different photos in different shoe boxes, and then one day you look through the shoe boxes and you have a collection in each shoebox of images that go well together. So that's a practice that I would do here because these images they don't speak to each other and they don't fit a specific narrative. So that would be my biggest constructive piece of advice on this. Um, would be it's not culling down, it's not anything like that. It's just that let's see. So the images that have sold or that you've sent to someone so far, both do involve birds, right? You got gratitude and spirit of the eagle. So maybe you need to nix these images, these cityscapes and this other image, and figure out a way because you can't take back these, right? Because you sold them. So you might have to revolve your collection based around those moody images with these birds and such. It doesn't have to be about birds, but it has to fit some type of theme. But yeah, other than that, floor price 0.09. It's attractive for one. So, yep, that's what I got there. It's a small collection, so not much to talk about, but yeah, some beautiful images. Just need to learn the curating side. Last collection. This is a big one. 66 items. Spirit of Morocco. Okay, so let's read your artist statement. A dive into Moroccan culture and customs, simply exploring the complexity and diversity. Part of the collection now published in Now Morocco Multimedia Magazine 2014 to 2015. So I'd love to see the photographs that are published in there, right? Because you have 66 images here, but they're probably lost. Those images that were published are probably lost in the saturation of such a um, huge drop. I'm sorry about that. Can't pay attention to the chat, but you're welcome, sir. Um, so yeah, 2015 International Photography Award finalist, and you have the licenses. Yeah, well, not enough written here about the spirit of Morocco, to be quite honest. It seems like you kind of just go right into talking about your awards, which is kind of a turnoff for a lot of collectors. Like, we want to hear more about what Morocco means to you and what is the spirit of Morocco, and like why did you choose to photograph these? I mean, you have 66 images here, so you should have a larger artist statement for us, right? Um, One thing I noticed, right, your floor price is 0.3, but that goes up quickly to 0.4 right here, then quickly to 0.5. Then you're all the way down here at let's see, OpenSea's being kind of slow. I think some of your images are like 2 ETH, etc. Let me reload this. Here we go. Really slow, OpenSea. Or my internet. One or the other. Some beautiful images in here, I will say. What happened? Is it just me, Goon? If you try to open up this collection, will it open up for you in the Discord? All right, it's opening now. So now we're up to 0.8. And look at these images. These architectures are gorgeous. Look at this is beautiful. But this collection is these two images is very similar. Then you go down into like these studio portraits. So you have a huge curation issue here. Looks like one image sold for 0.3. I looked at this before too. Sonny bought this one, so he's the only one who bought from this collection, and that's a gorgeous image. Like, all right, so you're a great photographer, like that's clear, right? But there's a huge risk to dropping 66 images at one time, and also we have a lot of genres we're playing with here, right? Like this is a sunset shot, so we're playing with landscape, portraiture, environmental portraiture, abstract, architecture, documentary, and this is beautiful. Like these are beautiful minimalistic architecture shots. Like, let's see, and you got your properties, like addition, right? The artist name, great. Rarity score. You even have a rarity score. That's interesting. Awarded, no. I mean, I probably wouldn't put that. I would probably only put if it's rewarded, and then awarded, and the awarded shots will then have a percentage, which will be 3%, because 97% are not awarded, so we don't need to see not awarded. But yeah, I'm really drawn to these minimal interiors. That's so cool to me. The colors are so beautiful. There's so much dimension. Yeah, it's so much detail. And there's more here too. It's this one. So, when it comes down to it, what I'm saying is that you basically have like seven different collections and you just dropped it all into one basket. And so I think that you definitely look at, like, now you have environmental musicians. So there's a lot of different categories here, right? I don't have the time to break down every single thing, but look at this. There's a beautiful portrait, beautiful environmental portrait. It's fantastic. So you're well versed as a photographer in many different genres. You should just pick a genre, right? Pick the first genre that you think is your strongest. I mean, for me, I think it's either those architectural shots, or it's like these documentary shots, like the one that Sonny picked up, and like, put out that collection. The thing is, so you got one owner, right, and that's Sonny, and he bought from this collection. When I say collection, I mean like this subcategory within your collection, because you have so many subcategories. So the only thing you can do at this point now is, well, one, you can either buy back the piece from Sonny, right? And then you can then, if you had that piece back, you can delete this whole collection if you wanted to, or you could keep the piece that Sonny bought, right? And you could remove everything that's outside of this storyline, right? This storyline from what Sonny bought. And maybe this storyline is only 6 images. Sell those 6 images out, have a sold out collection, move on to your architecture stuff or something like that. Is artist here? This is Medhi. And if they are, we'd love to talk to the artist. Medhi is here. Would you mind unmuting him, Goon? and we'll see if we
Yeah, he's unmuted. I don't know if he's there though.
Oh, he's just has to unmute himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it can help a lot with this collection because he's a great photographer, right? It's just there's just so many photos in here that we're just lost. You know, we're lost, and I think that's look at this beautiful rainbow photograph, like, um, and I think that collectors are just lost in not knowing what to buy within this. And then he has these pieces of 2.5 ETH down here. Um, Maybe they belong in a different collection. You know, there's no way the same collection should have 0.3 and then 2.5 ETH in the same collection, unless it's like a really small collection and one piece is just so powerful and awarded and such that it could justify that. Okay. Well, I don't think he's gonna hop on, but let's see. If I have it sorted from all this, I just want to see how long this collection's been out. 9 months. So collection's been out for 9 months. You know, I mean, if just looking at it, it sort of looks like an abandoned collection at that point. But he's here though, so he's clearly still here, like because he's in the room. Um, and let's see, he's collections thread. What is this? This was last posted on June 9th, right? So he's pinned tweets from June 9th, but it's I don't think it's about his collection. Is it? Yes, it is. Okay, so he has a link to the collection. Okay. And then what does he have before this? So just posted a piece and the price and just put, okay, 5 hours ago. So like, yeah, you know, I would include more information than this. I would write about the piece. But like, yeah, this is the collection I'm looking at, like where you should probably just focus on this portion of the collection since Sunny bought one. So you can sell something out and then work on smaller collections, especially right now in this bear market, trying to sell one of ones for, you know, between 0.3 and 2.5 is extremely optimistic, and you might sit on that for a really long time. And so I would try to focus on smaller collections. And yeah, that's all the feedback I really have on this. I think he's a really great artist. I think that just curation is could be very helpful in that. So with that, you know, if if anyone has any questions, I haven't been able to look at the chat. Let's see. Anyone has questions, then I could definitely go and answer some questions from people. But if not, then you know we can close out.
I also have some POAPs. I'll go ahead and post those.
Cool, awesome. I'm reading what Emma wrote. So, for what it's worth, don't think artists should have an aversion to burning pieces in a collection with sales if they have decided to update it. In most cases, it may even be an option to remove pieces from a collection and move to a new collection. This could allow for two smaller, more tightly. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Like tighter, smaller, tighter collections. Yeah, and now OpenSea is very generous with the ability to be able to do that. You know, like we could delete our mistakes basically that we've made. Cool. Click POAPs are in here. So yeah, really great session. A lot of people here today. A lot of artists in here today. I'm glad that that Adam Carity got up here. Loved hearing about his work. That was awesome. And yeah, I hope you guys got a lot out of it. Sonny was a cool surprise to have today. He's really great with storytelling and stuff like that. He's not just an amazing collector, like I said. He's a visionary within the space. So really lucky to have him here today. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the AMA.
Yeah, great.